Hi, I'm Amy,
And I'm Neil.
and we are Nerds, Over 40. What are we talking about today, Neil?
Well, we survived Halloween.
We did.
We're getting towards the next holiday, which isn't Christmas, by the way.
Now we're moving into Thanksgiving. So, what are we doing for Thanksgiving?
We are driving to Colorado.
We are driving to Colorado. There was some stuff going on with the airports when we were trying to decide if we were going to get flights. So, what are we doing for Thanksgiving, Neil?
Bailey Geddon.
Bailey Geddon. Who are the Baileys?
It's my mom's side of the family. We're all getting together in Colorado, and if you see the mushroom cloud, that'll be us.
So we're driving to Colorado. Where in Colorado are we going?
Grand Junction. Fortunately, it's the far west side of the state, so
Correct.
we don't have to drive through the passes.
And also, fortunately, Vegas is on the way. So we're going to stop in Vegas for a night.
Vegas, baby.
We're going to see a bunch of our friends because our friends like to go on vacation with us.
They're
So
crazy.
a bunch of us are bombing out there for a night in Vegas. We may be somewhat wrecked when we get to Colorado, but oh well. But in addition to the Baileys, who else are we seeing?
We're also going to see my dad's side of the family the next day.
We're seeing the Holmeses.
The Holmeses
So
and the Baileys. And...
There's going to be lots of family for Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And then what are we doing for Christmas?
Then we're going all the way across the country to visit your family.
We're going to see the Clarks and the Lozanos.
Batten down the hatches.
Yes. So on that one, we are flying. We are going to be in Virginia for approximately a week, a little less than a week, and celebrate my niece's birthday. And then 2 days later, we're celebrating my mother's birthday. And the day after that is Christmas. So.
Yeah, so if it's a little quieter than usual, it'll be because we're there because it's not going to get any noisier.
So
it's not humanly possible, I don't think.
Right. So it's going to be a lot. So I know we originally talked about doing Stephen King for this episode, but there's a lot of Stephen King. To prep for Stephen King is,
that's like a 2-hour episode.
It could be a 5-hour episode. I mean, it's a lot.
Well, and I don't even think I've read half of his books either. I mean, I've read a bunch of his stuff.
Right. I mean, he's
written so
very
much.
prolific. So when we were kind of knocking around what we were going to do this week, my friend Ben at work suggested, why don't you just do the Peanuts holiday special, since we're kind of in holiday mode? And I was like, that's a brilliant idea.
That's a genius idea. I mean, so a big part of our channel is nostalgia, right? And man, is there anything more nostalgic than Peanuts?
Right. So we figured we'd talk about Peanuts just a little bit in general, but really what we're going to focus on are the 3 big holiday specials. So Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, because that's what we're right in the middle of right now. And a big part of the holidays for me is always watching those 3 episodes.
Yeah.
So should we jump in?
Let's go.
All right. So let's talk about, we're going to talk a little bit about Peanuts, but we're really focusing on the 3 big holiday specials, which are Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas, because that's the season we're in the middle of right now.
And Gen Xers grew up with it, right?
We all did. We definitely grew up with it. So Peanuts was created by Charles M. Schulz. He was a comic strip artist. What was his nickname?
Sparky.
So where did the term Sparky come from?
So Sparky, the nickname was from his uncle, and it's from another comic strip called Barney Google. This comic strip is old. Now Schulz was born in 22, so this is a comic strip that was running like in the 20s and 30s. So, long time ago.
So it's like it was meant to be.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder, it does make you wonder how much of his future was shaped by that nickname.
Yep.
So be careful what you nickname your kids and nieces and nephews.
Pro tip. Schulz wrote and illustrated all of his comic strips. He drew every single one for over 50 years, and he did not utilize any assistants. He did the lettering, the coloring process, everything was done by him. So Peanuts is 100% Charles Schulz. It was one of the most popular and influential comic strips of all time. It's been said that Peanuts is arguably the longest story ever told by one human being. It debuted in 1950. It By the 60s, it was a worldwide phenomenon. Peanuts ran in over 2,600 newspapers with a readership of 355 million across 75 countries. It was translated into 21 languages, and together with its merchandise, it earned Schulz more than $1 billion.
Yeah, I don't think there's a comic strip out there that has more ubiquitous merchandising, right?
Right. And this is something that, we've discussed a bit because I would say of all the comic strips, Peanuts is probably my second favorite comic strip ever.
Yeah.
But my first favorite, the artist was very specific about no merchandise. So, what comic strip was that?
That's Calvin and Hobbes.
Correct.
I think it's kind of a shame that he has. I understand him not. That some of the merchandising is kind of gross, but I'd love to be able to buy some licensed, Calvin and Hobbes merchandise. But everything I've got that's Calvin and Hobbes came off of Wish, so someone's making money off of it. It's just not the guy who
Waterston.
should be making
Yeah.
money off of it.
But Schultz parlayed this comic strip into a variety of different products. When I was a kid, I had a stuffed Snoopy that I carried around
I think
all the time.
everyone had a stuffed Snoopy.
Yeah, but I carried my stuffed Snoopy. We went to Europe, and I had like this filthy stuffed Snoopy that I would carry around everywhere.
I think my first baby blanket was had Snoopy on it.
You've got your little stuffed Snoopy
Yeah,
there.
there's lots of licensed.
This one even vibrates.
Yeah. Don't ask me what that's for.
I got this water bottle. This is also licensed. I got this from the Peanuts booth at Comic-Con in 2019. There was a whole thing with Snoopy in the space program during the moon landing. So 2019 was the 50th anniversary of the moon landing. So the Peanuts booth at Comic-Con did a whole space thing. So this is Snoopy in his space outfit and his astronaut outfit. And it says 1969, which just so happens to be the year I was born also. Which is the year we landed on the moon. So I really wanted this as a lifelong Snoopy fan and somebody who was born in 69 and somebody who loves Comic-Con. So this is one of my favorite things that I ever got at Comic-Con was this bottle. So anyway, let's talk about where did Peanuts come from? Where did the name Peanuts come from?
Well, originally he did a strip called Little Folks. I don't know if you can hear the apostrophe in there, but Little Folks. But apparently there's some sort of intellectual property issue with that, so he had to change it. And the name they eventually settled on was Peanuts.
So it came from the Howdy Doody Show. The Howdy Doody Show was a hit in the 50s. And part of the Howdy Doody Show was there was a peanut gallery, which was a bunch of kids who were the audience watching this. And the kids in the audience were the Peanuts.
Yeah.
So they kind of stole that and named the comic strip after that. And Charles Schulz was never a fan of that name. He didn't like it. And hence, when these specials came out, you will notice that none of the specials have the name Peanuts in them. But that was the name that the strip was called.
Yeah.
And then the animation first appeared as a series of shorts on the Ford Show, which was hosted by Tennessee Ernie Ford, and also in Ford commercials.
Man, they'd give anybody a variety show back in the day.
Maybe
wouldn't they?
he was big back then.
Of course, they're
I
doing
don't
that
know.
now too. I mean, Kelly Clarkson's got one.
So these and didn't the Simpsons get started that way? Wasn't the Simpsons like a short
It was
on
the Tracy Ullman show,
right?
and that's Matt Groening did Life in Hell, which was you saw it in sort of alternative publications, and that's how the Simpsons started.
So the Peanuts kind of came the same way. These bigger specials. So the first of the three specials was the Christmas special, and it was commissioned by
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola wanted them to do this special and use it as kind of a marketing tool for them. It debuted in 1965, and the title of it was A Charlie Brown Christmas. And again, Peanuts did not appear in the title. Schulz wrote it himself, And Coke wanted it out for the holidays. So they kind of pushed the timeline on this. After Coke approached Schulz, they gave him 5 days to come up with the story. And he got together with Bill Melendez, who ended up directing it, and Lee Mendelson, who was the producer. And the three of them came up with the story in one afternoon, put it together. What is the basic story of A Charlie Brown Christmas?
Well, Charlie's he's always anxious, right? He's always got this anxiety. He's got this holiday anxiety, and he's not excited about the holiday and about gifts and presents. He feels like there should be more to it than that, I think. And he goes to visit Lucy to work
In
out
her
his.
psychiatric help booth.
That's right, for a nickel, and to kind of get him out of his funk, she suggests that he become the director of their Christmas play. So he jumps in, and I think Lucy has a few regrets after he jumps in about it, but he becomes
He's not very popular
yeah.
with the kids.
They just wanted
Party.
yeah.
They want to have fun. They want to party. They're, playing music and dancing.
But Charlie Brown's still on this mission to find Christmas, right?
He's trying to find the true meaning of Christmas. And there's a lot of commercial. It's kind of the strain between the commercialism of Christmas and the true meaning of Christmas. That's kind of what the story's about. There's one where, Sally's writing a letter to Santa and she's listing off all of this stuff that she wants and money and,
Sally's got to get paid.
yeah. So Charlie Brown's looking for a deeper meaning to Christmas. So they're putting on this play, and there is some religion in it.
There's a lot of religion.
Yeah, Linus actually does a reading out of the King James Bible talking about the shepherds and Christmas. And there was actually some controversy from the network about that. They didn't really want that in there. Some people thought that cartoons were inappropriate for having religion and Bible verses. And then others, were looking for the more commercial whatever, and we're not down with the whole religious overtones of this. But the real star of this, I would say, is the Charlie Brown Christmas tree.
Yeah.
So Lucy gives Charlie Brown some money, I think, to go get a tree. And remember, this was filmed in the 60s.
65.
So he goes to a tree lot, and the tree lot is full of all of these mid-century modern Christmas trees. They're like aluminum, like pink and aqua and orange.
And by the time I was old enough to sort of comprehend this, those trees were gone. I'd never seen one of those trees. As a matter of fact, for boomers, did those trees actually exist? I've never
Yes,
seen...
you could still get the retro ones. I mean, I'm into the whole mid-century thing, and those trees are pretty cool to me. It goes with my vibe.
You
right?
betrayed the spirit of Christmas.
I have, because it's my tiki mid-century thing. Like those trees work for me. But...
Well, nothing says, Iron Age Palestine like an evergreen tree.
I did an aqua tree in my office upstairs.
I remember,
with like pom poms, and like I'll post a picture. But anyway, Charlie Brown is not impressed with the fabulous mid-century aluminum trees, and he finds a little small sapling. The one real tree on the lot. The
cheapest tree on the lot, most likely.
And he decides he wants to give that tree some love, and he's going to take that tree.
I think there's a lot of that he really identifies with that tree, too.
Yeah. So he takes it home, and he steals a bulb off of Snoopy's doghouse and puts it on the top of the tree, and the tree bends over. And he thinks that he's killed the tree. So now he's really upset, and he walks away.
After, I killed it.
Right. And so the other kids come and they see the tree, and they decide that they're going to try to, they're going to try to rehab the tree. So Linus wraps his blanket around the tree, and they steal some more ornaments off of Snoopy's doghouse, which was very extra, and decorate the tree.
That's
and the
a precursor of,
all of those HGTV shows with
No,
the,
I was thinking of from Vacation,
oh yeah, Clark
the
Griswold.
Griswold
That's
Christmas.
right. And so the tree kind of comes into its own and comes back. They've fixed the tree. And the kids at the end sing Hark the Herald Angels Sing, which again is,
Snoopy kind of howls along.
yes. And then they all shout at the end, Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown.
And that
So,
tree is also, I mean, that's kind of a metaphor for Charlie Brown himself, right? Or even for all of us that, very few of us are that shiny, mid-century modern aluminum tree. A lot of us have those, we're dropping needles, so to speak. And
well, wasn't there a movie, like a Disney movie? I think there's been two now that are called like Inside Out or something. And there's like characters that are like the little girl's emotions. I feel like Peanuts is kind of that. Like when you ask somebody, what's your favorite Peanuts character or which Peanuts character do you relate to the most? I think we all have a little bit of many of them. I feel like I've got some Charlie Brown in me. I've definitely got some Lucy in me. I've got some Snoopy. I've got some Peppermint Patty. Hopefully no pig pen, but maybe sometimes.
yes.
But but I think we all kind of can relate to a lot of the different parts of these characters. And that was one thing that when I was checking my notes, when I was putting my notes together, Peanuts isn't exactly written for kids. Like I read it when I was a kid and I really liked it, but it also has some kind of underlying themes that are more for adults.
Well,
There's
it doesn't pander. I mean, it's kind of about kids, but not necessarily for kids.
right. It's got philosophical undertones. It definitely has psychological undertones, sociological undertones. And the humor is not really laugh out loud humor. It's kind of psychologically complex. And it's driven by the characters' interactions and their relationships. There are no adults. You hear them, with the sad trombone,
And that was
the wah,
genius.
wah,
Whoever
wah,
thought of
wah,
that
wah.
was just a
Like
great idea.
like you never actually hear an adult speaking in any of
Well,
these.
it's kind of a nicer way to get rid of the parents than a lot of like juvenile fiction where they just kill them off altogether,
That's
right?
right. Well, and like in Calvin and Hobbes, there were adults. Like you saw his parents, you
And
saw Calvin's long-suffering teachers.
well, the
You
brilliance
know,
is that Hobbes turns back to a stuffed tiger whenever there's parents and whenever other people are
right. He's only
around.
a real tiger when he's with Calvin. But I think with Peanuts, it's very driven by these kids. And when they did the special, they hired kids to do the voices.
They not just any kids. They were related to Schulz.
So a couple of them were, I
Yeah.
think. Some of them were professional actors. But I think that's different from one of the things we were discussing was some of the later specials don't come off quite the same because the voices have
The voices
changed.
are wrong.
Because
Yeah.
they actually used kids for the voices, whereas like The Simpsons, Bart Simpson sounds like Bart Simpson. He didn't that the actor who is a woman
Actress.
actress who plays Bart Simpson didn't age out of that voice. And like South Park, how long has South Park been on now?
Oh, let's see. 28 years?
Right. But Cartman sounds like Cartman, right? Because he wasn't played by a kid.
Or, well, the people doing it haven't grown up yet, so.
Yeah. So that was one thing that was kind of specific about these Peanut specials. They used kids. Another thing was they did not use a laugh track. Schulz was adamant about that. And when they suggested it, he actually stood up and walked out of the room.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine a laugh track during one of the Charlie Brown shows? I mean, they're not that sort of. You said earlier, it's not that kind of humor. It's how bad would it be to like? I was thinking about this. Is it like after Lucy yanks the football away and Charlie Brown goes flying? That laugh track is almost mean at that point, right? You're laughing
Yeah.
at someone else's pain, or these fake people are laughing at someone else's pain.
And when asked about it, Schulz said that he felt like the audience at home should not be instructed when to laugh. And I always felt that way too. I mean, it wasn't MASH another one that they didn't use a laugh track on. I don't like
Yeah.
laugh tracks personally. And it's in terms of the art style, they tried to make it look like the comic strip. So the animation was formatted in the same angles that the characters were confined to in the comic strip. And it just gives the illusion of like a moving comic in that first special. We talked about it was sponsored by Coca-Cola, and they're actually in the opening sequence when it first came out, there was a sequence with Coca-Cola. So I'm sure everybody's seen the special. At the beginning, they're ice skating, and Snoopy runs out and he grabs Linus's blanket and he spins Charlie Brown and Linus around with the blanket. And then he lets go of Charlie Brown, and Charlie Brown slides across the ice, slams into a tree, the snow falls on his head, and then the title shows up, Charlie Brown Christmas. Then it cuts. And that's what I remember seeing. But there was another sequence after that where it cuts back to Snoopy and he's spinning Linus around. Then he spins Linus the other way, and Linus slides across and slams into a Coca-Cola sign. Well, I don't remember ever seeing
No,
that,
yeah.
but I will drop pictures in the, and you can YouTube it if you want to see it. So why did they take Coca-Cola out?
Because later on they ended up bringing Dolly Madison in as a co-sponsor.
Right. And there was no Dolly Madison sign, so that wouldn't have been fair. And then the FCC was starting to crack down on the separation of commercial materials from being embedded in the actual program material. This is apparently before product placement was a big thing. So
Yeah, that seems kind of alien now, doesn't it?
it does. I would say, other than the kids, the tree, all of that, one of the things that for me made these specials so amazing was the music.
So I'm not a musician, but yeah, that music, you hear Linus and Lucy, and you're transported, right? You
You
hear that
are.
song play, and that's the da 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 da. Da. I mean, that takes you to the holidays. You're thinking it's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, and I was thinking about this the other day too. They used to kind of play that music before a special, like letting you know that there's a primetime special. And I remember how excited I was as a kid. And that's something that today's kids, they don't really have that. I mean, because everything is so like it's right there. If you want it, you get it right when you want it. Kids nowadays, they don't. Nowadays, Jesus, I sound old. But they don't get those sort of surprises. And maybe my parents might not have been surprised, because of course you could get the read the paper, which is, who does that anymore, and see what was coming, what was going to be on television that night. But we turn on just for primetime television, and then suddenly it's Charlie Brown. How exciting was that as a kid?
It was.
And now we turn on Apple to get Charlie Brown.
That's right. And we'll get to that in a minute. But let me go back to the music while we're discussing.
Yes.
So the creators of the special hired Vince Guaraldi, who was a local San Francisco jazz pianist, composer. He was also in a trio, to compose the music for the specials, starting with the Christmas special.
I'm betting that he made more money off the Charlie Brown stuff than all the rest of his stuff combined.
He did, and I have been a big fan of his. I have been a big fan of the music. They did do a couple of original pieces for it, including Linus and Lucy that you just referenced. And my favorite version of that, you got me a Vince Guaraldi album that was called the Charlie Brown Suite. And there was a version of that called Linus and Lucy with the band, where they did it with a big band, and it was awesome. It was so
That was
good.
back when we had CDs. I'll bet you can
Yes.
find it on Amazon Music or Apple Music
Yeah.
or whatever. But
And then he did a very jazzy version of O Tannenbaum for the special.
that's right.
And they also did a couple of choral things, like the Hark the Herald Angels Sing, which they used a children's choir to do because they wanted the children's voices. It was recorded in Glendale, my hometown, at Whitney Studio, and it was a huge commercial success. The album, when it came out, it sold 5 million copies in the US.
Wow.
But after this special, Vince Guaraldi was kind of synonymous with these Charlie Brown specials, that music. So I've loved it since I was a kid, and it takes me right back to these specials. Now, as you alluded to, today, if you want to watch this, you have to watch it on Apple. But that was not originally the case. So the network originally didn't like this. They weren't sure about the music. They weren't sure about the kid actors. They weren't sure about the no laugh track. And so they were just going to show it once and then never air it again. This was CBS. And then when they released it, it was a huge smash. It was the second most watched show of that week. And it's gone on to have, incredible ratings every time they released it, acclaim from the critics. It earned an Emmy and a Peabody. The special did. And so it was an annual presentation after that. So CBS had it from 1966 to 2000. ABC bought it from them, and they had it from 2001 to 2019. And then the evil corporation came and bought it after that.
They're all evil corporations, babe.
Yeah, that's true. All three of them. Didn't they just cancel Colbert?
Well, and
So
yeah.
we won't get into that.
Yeah.
But anyway, Apple took it over in 2020, but there was huge criticism when that happened that it was not available on like free television, that you had to pay for streaming. So eventually PBS reached out and acquired the broadcast rights to share in 2022. So
Is PBS dead now, or is
no,
I thought they
no,
they killed it.
no, each area has its own like PBS channel.
Okay, so the feds haven't killed PBS
No.
yet. Okay,
I,
okay.
I think up here it's what, KQED,
I don't know.
and in LA it's KCET. But usually most area have like a PBS channel.
You know what? I didn't have PBS in Texas growing up. It was really shocking moving from Colorado to Texas when you moved to Texas and suddenly I was in first grade and you can't find Sesame Street or Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood or anything there because, at least in the part of Texas I was, because they just didn't have a public broadcast channel there.
I grew up in LA. We had everything.
Babylon. But I wanna back up a little bit. I think it's really interesting. The professionals didn't like this adaptation. It didn't, and it turned out to be a smash. And I think about how many adaptations have you seen of books and whatever? They did but they did a great job of staying true to the spirit of Peanuts. They kept the angles and the artwork consistent. And Schulz just wasn't going to be swayed from doing it the way that he thought it needed to be done.
Well, I think that's the secret. I think the secret is having the creator as part of it and writing it and supervising
that
it
creator
and saying,
needs
no,
to
we're not
have the
doing a laugh
backbone
track.
to veto
Yeah.
some of that stuff.
Not just hand it over and let people bastardize it.
Yeah, which is, I think, probably what the CBS executives would have preferred. Let's put the laugh track in. Let's, whatever. But let's keep the religious part out. And now I'm not a huge fan of religion at this point, but that's a very meaningful part of that's the most moving part of the show, right?
And Linus is so earnest when he's giving that soliloquy, and it's the reading, and it really kind of tugs at your heartstrings, whether you're religious or not.
No, that's an absolutely great scene, fabulous scene right there. So, they did it right by not letting the godless TV executives do exactly what they wanted.
That's right. So, the Christmas special's a hit, right? So what happens when something's a hit? We need a sequel. What is it in Spaceballs?
The quest for more money.
The quest for more money. So the second one that was released is It's a Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. And after I watch each one, I go, that one's my
You
favorite.
know, people talk about sequels,
I'm
and
wearing my Great
they're like the
Pumpkin
sequels are
tees.
always worse, except for The Godfather. And you know what? This was around before The Godfather, and guess what? That's a hell of a sequel. That's a great sequel.
Actually, this is a lot of people's favorite of the three. It's hard to say what your favorite is,
Well, my
but
favorite of the Guardians of the Galaxy is the second one.
well, I mean, which one of these three is your favorite?
I love all three of them.
Me too.
I
It's
don't think
hard to
I
say,
would probably
right?
go with the Christmas one though. I think if I had to
Yeah,
choose
I
one,
might go with the Halloween one, but the
yeah,
Halloween one, Halloween is my favorite holiday,
that one's more
so
fun. The Christmas
yeah,
one is more earnest, I think.
right. But and my favorite song is in the Thanksgiving one. We'll get to that in a minute. Um, so the first, in my opinion, the first acceptable date to view It's a Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown is September 1st.
September 1st?
Because that's the beginning of the Halloween season, right?
September 1st?
Yes.
A whole month, 2 months early,
September and
huh?
October are
September and October.
Halloween.
Okay.
You
You're going
know,
back to school and you're ready for Halloween already,
yes,
huh?
no, I'm ready. I'm ready for Halloween. I would say that the first acceptable date to watch a Charlie Brown Christmas is the day after Thanksgiving.
I would agree with that. For God's sake, this year there was Christmas stuff being advertised before Halloween.
Yeah, I don't want to see Christmas affecting my Halloween vibe.
We're going to start getting Christmas ads like at New Year's.
I think we're not even putting up a Christmas tree this year, right? Because we're going away for Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Well, you've got your beads stacked where our Christmas tree goes anyway.
I think I just got called out.
Our 40 viewers will know about this.
That's right. So anyway, let's talk about It's a Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. So it was released in 1966. It was the second big holiday theme special. There was another special between, but we're just focusing on the holiday ones. Written by the same guys. And as I said, a lot of people think that this is the best of the three, but that's you make your own determination. So what's the plot of this one? You want to tell the plot or should I?
Why don't you go ahead?
Okay. So the kids are ready to celebrate Halloween, and kids love Halloween. And I think this special was really good at kind of getting that vibe across. So we've got the kids, they're getting ready to go trick or treating, right? So they're getting their costumes together.
Poor Charlie Brown.
Charlie Brown is there. A bunch of them that have like sheets and they're cutting like the eye holes. And somehow Charlie Brown managed to cut like a bazillion eye holes in his sheet.
Of all the Charlie Browns in the world,
He's the Charlie
Charlie
Brownest.
Browniest.
And Lucy has a sheet, but then she has like a witch mask. And she's talking about how she likes to wear this witch mask because it's so unlike her actual personality. And you could see the other kids kind of, they don't do the eye roll, but you know they're all rolling their eyes when she says that. So they're getting ready to go trick or treating. And Violet is having a Halloween party. So they're going to go trick or treating. Then they're going to go to Violet's house for this Halloween party where they're going to bob for apples and have candy and whatever. This is the whole Halloween I want to have. I want to go back in time and I want to go trick or treating and then I want to go to the Halloween party. Someday.
Didn't you have those Halloweens as a kid?
I did trick or treat. I didn't really do Halloween parties. When I was a little kid, when my parents used to go out of town, I would occasionally have Halloween parties, but we won't get into that. I had actually, my friend Melissa had a Halloween party the night before the SAT, and I was like
Who
at her
schedules
house.
the SAT for November 1st?
Fascists.
That's just a sadist.
Yeah, and I was like, do you know what it is to become a cardinal? It's like a drinking game. And you're like, Cardinal Puff's about to take her first drink, and then you like slam back a
I
drink.
never played that
and you have to
game.
take a bunch of drinks to become a Cardinal. Well, I did that the night before the SAT. I still got a decent score, but probably not the best idea. There was a bunch of stuff that went on at that party. But anyway, I digress. Now
She got it all out of her system in high school, guys.
I know, now I'm boring
In
as hell.
college, there was nothing there, man.
Yeah, well, I was working. So anyway, this is all going on. Charlie Brown gets invited to the Halloween party, and they're being dicks to him, and they're like, "Oh, that must have been a mistake or whatever," because nobody can ever be nice to him. So that's
I got a rock.
yeah. So that's kind of one part of the the what's going on. Then Snoopy has decided that he's going to dress up as a World War I flying ace, right? And his doghouse is his plane. It's the
It's a
Sopwith
Sopwith
Camel.
camel, yes.
And he's going to go and have a gunfight with the Red Baron on top of his doghouse. And he's going to get shot down, and then he has to like creep through the wood. So Snoopy's doing that. He's got his whole cosplay thing going. He's big into that. Then the main portion of it, the thing that Neil was alluding to that he remembers, is Linus has decided that there is this mythological, I guess, well, not to him,
The Great
the
Pumpkin.
Great Pumpkin, which is kind of like the Santa Claus of Halloween.
I mean, you wonder who planted this idea in his head. It's clearly, see, it sounds like something that Lucy would do, but it's clearly she didn't.
Yeah, so Linus is fixated on this whole Great Pumpkin thing. So he's writing a letter to the Great Pumpkin the way you would write to Santa. And he's going to go sit out in the pumpkin patch.
The most sincere pumpkin patch.
Because apparently, unlike Santa, who shows up to all the good kids, the Great Pumpkin only shows up in one pumpkin patch, and it has to be the most sincere pumpkin patch. You will notice on my sweater here that I have my sincere pumpkin patch on my Great Pumpkin sweater.
So I don't want to know what a sincere pumpkin patch is. I want to know what an unsincere.
I think that it's more like you have to be sincere in your belief of the Great Pumpkin, and then
No, but that's not what he says. It's got to be a sincere pumpkin patch. I want to see an insincere pumpkin patch. Would it be like gourds of a different kind?
I don't know.
Maybe
I mean,
summer squash.
I would choose that pumpkin patch up in Half Moon Bay.
Summer squash seems very insincere to me.
That's true. But like pumpkin patch up in Half Moon Bay, that's a kick-ass pumpkin patch. That's the one I would pick.
But maybe zucchini.
I don't know. So anyway, Linus has this all planned out. He's not going trick-or-treating. He's not going to the party. He's going to go sit out in the pumpkin patch, and he's going to wait for the Great Pumpkin. Now, who has the hots for Linus?
Sally. Charlie Brown's little sister.
Sally has the hots for Linus. He is her sweet baboo. And she has decided that she's going to go sit out in the pumpkin patch with him, even though she's not completely on board with the whole Great Pumpkin
The first
concept.
of many, many times in her life that she is doomed to be disappointed by a man.
That's true. So she decides that she's going to forego trick-or-treating, she's going to forego the party, and she's just going to go sit out in this pumpkin patch with Linus. But one of the things I found to be weird in this special is she goes out in the pumpkin patch with him, but then she's threatening him. And she's like, you better not try to hold my hand.
She's the reason he didn't show up.
But she's saying to Linus, you better not try to hold my hand, or I'm going to sock you. And I'm like, girl, you just gave up your Halloween night to go sit out with him. Go get busy in the pumpkin patch. Why are you like now threatening him if he's going to try to be romantic with you in the pumpkin patch? Just go for it.
Well, they didn't have their gloves.
Nice. I'm just saying.
No glove, no love.
I mean, she's always trying to like smooch him and call him the sweet baboo. And then she finally gets an opportunity to make it happen in the pumpkin patch.
Babe, you're just. So this is the first time in your life you saw something from the male perspective a little bit, because that's what dealing with women is like.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't have gotten lucky in the pumpkin patch?
Baby, judging from my past life history, I wouldn't have. I have not gotten lucky most places I've been.
You had no game in the pumpkin patch?
Or very many places otherwise.
So anyway, we digress again. So they're in the pumpkin patch. Sally has now figured out that this
Linus has game. I mean, he's like 8, and he's got a girl in the pumpkin patch with him. No, nothing happens, but he's 8. Nothing's supposed to happen at that age.
Well, he was waiting for the great. He
I'm
wasn't
telling
even
you, by
focused.
the time he hits 16, he's gonna be doing well.
I think we're missing the whole point of this thing. We've gone way off the rails now. But
we've gotten deeper into our interpretation of Peanuts as a more of a modern critique on it.
That's right, exactly.
That's what we're looking at here.
So anyway, who does show up in the pumpkin patch?
Snoopy does.
Snoopy does, and you see him just as a silhouette against the full moon. And so Linus freaks out because he thinks Snoopy is the Great Pumpkin. and faints. Now, Sally has now gotten a grip on the fact that the Great Pumpkin is not, in fact, going to show up. She's been screwed out of her candy. She didn't get to go to the party, so she's yelling at
I
Linus.
think she
And
calls him a
she's like,
blockhead, right?
yes, and she's gotten screwed out of her tricks and treats, and she's mad. So she goes and takes off. She's like, that's just my brother's stupid dog, you know. So she takes off, she bails, she's mad, leaves him there in the pumpkin patch, passed out. So the very last scene is Lucy going and collecting him in the middle of the night. He's freezing, gets him and takes him into the house, which takes us back to the whole where the hell are these kids' parents? I mean, he's like out in the pumpkin patch at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and it's his bratty sister who has to go get him.
Well, it was a different time, right? It was a more innocent time.
That's
We
true.
didn't have
My parents probably would have left my ass out in the pumpkin patch.
we didn't have John Wayne Gacy streaming on Netflix at the time.
True.
So they didn't. Serial killer was not not a part of the lexicon.
All right. So no John Wayne Gacy. You can hang out in the pumpkin patch all night.
Well, that's how those people were able to flourish, right? Because people did turn their kids loose.
We've gone to a very dark place. It's like we're talking about Charlie Brown and we've gotten to John Wayne Gacy. Just forget all of that. So anyway,
Well, he did dress up as a clown.
he did. So anyway, the animation in this one was slightly different. So there's more like camera movement in this one, and the background used a linear perspective rather than like the flat design, especially in the portion that is like the fight with the Red Baron. The same musicians did this, but instead of recording it in Glendale, they recorded it in Hollywood at Desilu Studios.
Desilu, for those of you who are nerds, which should be most of you, your
Better
ears
be.
should perk up, right? Desilu, that's Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball. That's their company, and she's the mother of Star Trek.
She's the reason we have Star Trek.
Maybe godmother of Star Trek.
Yeah,
If she didn't create it, but man, she was behind the.
she was.
Yeah.
And say Vince Guaraldi did the music. He wrote the Great Pumpkin Waltz. That's for this one. And when you watch the beginning of the special, that's the song that plays at the beginning. And people loved this special. And they loved it so much that Schulz and the studio received hundreds of packages of candy in response to Charlie Brown not getting any. All he got was a bag of rocks
Yeah,
when he
that's
went
so
trick or treating.
sad. That's
So
so
people were
sad.
sending candy to the studio and to Charles Schulz to make up for Charlie Brown not getting any candy.
That's awesome. Yeah, it is sad that he has a bag full of rocks at the end of
I
the
know,
night.
right? That sucks. So that takes us to our last. So I'm doing these in chronological order, so that of when they were released. So the last of the three that we're going to talk about is
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, which is coming up, right? And my feeling is the first acceptable date to watch this one is November 1st, the
Yes.
day after Halloween. Watch it the day after Halloween. It aired in 1973. This one also won an Emmy. And so
The quality on these is very consistent, very well
It
done.
is. So this one opens with Lucy trying to get Charlie Brown to kick a football.
Yes.
And this was an ongoing gag in the comic strips that like everybody who'd read the comic strips had seen this multiple times, but they decided to incorporate it into this one because what happens on Thanksgiving?
Football.
People watch football, right? So they're like, okay, we're going to put that in. And as usual, what does Lucy do? She's a dick.
She pulls that football away.
She's not going to let Charlie Brown kick the football. So what's happening on Thanksgiving? Charlie Brown and Sally are supposed to go to their grandmother's house.
That's right.
With their parents, theoretically. We
For
never see
Thanksgiving
them.
dinner.
For Thanksgiving dinner. And Charlie Brown gets a call from Peppermint Patty, who is a little bit forward. The women in this are very forward. Like
They are.
Lucy is forward with Schroeder, Sally is forward with Linus, and Peppermint Patty is definitely forward with Charlie Brown. The women are like
They're
take
not shy.
charge
They are
group,
not,
you know. So Peppermint Patty decides to invite herself to Thanksgiving dinner, and then ends up inviting Marcy and Franklin also to Thanksgiving dinner. Which is a problem because Charlie Brown's not going to be home for Thanksgiving dinner. But what is he? He's wishy-washy. He can't say
Can't
no,
say no.
right?
Well, she doesn't give him even a chance to say no. Well, I.
That's the secret, ladies. Don't even give them a chance to say no.
Because male consent has been a problem
Go-
over the years.
Go forth and conquer.
Yeah.
So anyway, they're going to come over for Thanksgiving dinner, and now Charlie Brown is screwed, right? So he's talking to Linus, and he's like, "What the hell am I going to do? I've got these people coming over for Thanksgiving dinner." This is when, Linus points out that Charlie Brown's wishy-washy because he didn't say no. So they decide they're going to cook, quote unquote, their own Thanksgiving
All that
dinner.
food has had heat applied to it. You've got the popcorn,
The jelly beans haven't.
you've got toast,
You've got
popcorn, toast, and jelly beans, and pretzels too, right?
and an ice cream sundae.
There's an ice cream sundae. I
Yeah.
don't remember that one, but
So anyway, they decide they're going to have them come over early and do this feast, and then they're going to go off to their family Thanksgiving. So they send Snoopy out to prepare like the table. So they send him outside to go set up the ping pong table and chairs. They have all their like lawn chairs and stuff.
and those of you who've dealt with all that stuff can feel his pain.
Yes,
I mean, anyone who's had to set up equipment of some sort, you end up having to fight with that stuff to get it open. And
right.
it's spring loaded, and it's just fingers are waiting to be pinched.
So Vince Guaraldi for this one wrote probably my favorite song of these, which is a song that I have a tendency to sing when I'm, no one's around to hear me, but it's called Little Birdie, and it's very, very jazzy, like, and it's Snoopy going to get Woodstock to help him with this, and they have this whole like montage of them setting up Thanksgiving to this Little Birdie song, and I love that song. So anyway, we had a whole debate about what kind of bird Woodstock is.
The internet says that Schulz never defined what kind of bird he was.
In my head, he was always a canary. But
I mean, it started because we were discussing, Woodstock's eating turkey at the end of the show.
and so is that cannibalism? Because he's a bird and a turkey's a bird. So
Birds eat other birds all the time.
gross.
It's not the same type of bird.
Gross.
We don't know what kind of bird he is, but I think we can be pretty sure he's not a turkey.
My hamsters used to eat each other, and that was certainly cannibalism.
That was certainly cannibalism.
That's why I decided I couldn't deal with
But
hamsters anymore.
if a hamster ate a gerbil, that's not cannibalism.
It's gross.
Well, yes.
So anyway, so they said,
Especially since it was probably.
why has this whole podcast just gone dark? Like, we got cannibalism, we got John Wayne Gacy. We're supposed to be talking about peanuts. Like, what the hell?
That's the end of daylight savings, baby.
I guess. So anyway, back to the back to the thing. So Snoopy sets up the outside. Then he comes inside and he's gonna help make dinner. So they put together, as you pointed out, pretzels, jelly beans, toast, popcorn.
That doesn't sound so bad to me. I mean,
And then the other kids show up.
And yeah, how would you feel if you showed up to Thanksgiving dinner and you had popcorn, pretzels, toast, and jelly beans waiting for you?
You know what? We're supposed to do a side for your family's Thanksgiving, and I am very tempted to do like plates of the like Charlie Brown Thanksgiving stuff. Just start throwing them.
There's some popcorn, bitch.
Just bring a bag of jelly beans, and I don't have to cook anything.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how everybody would react, but I think it'd be funny.
Well, yeah, So my generation got sides. My parents are doing my mom and her brothers are doing the meats, which is the only thing that I really can do. So it looks like Amy gets to throw in a couple of
Yeah, I was gonna do the Martha Stewart sweet potato, but I could just do the Snoopy and Charlie Brown.
You know what? I can make some popcorn.
There we go.
I make popcorn all the time.
Don't tempt me; it might happen. So before they serve the dinner to their guests, Linus does a prayer, and he talks about Miles Standish and the first Thanksgiving. Didn't get into the whole genocide of the Native Americans after that, but
Yeah, I think history was a lot more whitewashed 50 years ago, 60 years
We
ago.
were raised on whitewashed history for sure.
It was
They put a
not.
very positive spin on it, which didn't really work out for the
I
Native
I
Americans.
think
But so Linus gives his prayer, and then they serve the meal. And how does Peppermint Patty react?
Peppermint Patty reacts the way I would react with no turkey, pissed off.
She is pissed off, and she's not shy about it.
Where's
And
the turkey? Where's the stuffing? Where's the mashed potatoes? I would have been pissed off about the gravy, before some of those things. But anyway, yeah. So
yeah, so Charlie Brown's upset, and he leaves the table. He just got yelled at. He was trying to do something nice, and
and
didn't work out.
he could kind of see it coming too, right? It's kind of a slow motion train crash.
Yeah. So then Marcy, who's kind of Peppermint Patty's conscience and brains, is like, you were a little rough on old Chuck there. Um,
Also, Charles Schultz revealed later on that Marcy also had a secret crush on Charlie Brown.
right. Whereas everybody thought she had a secret crush on Peppermint Patty. Um, so Peppermint Patty asks Marcy to go and like smooth things over with Charlie Brown. She realized she screwed up. But then Peppermint Patty ends up going and she apologizes herself.
Let's not play lovers games, Chuck.
Yeah, doesn't she like grab his hand or
Or
something?
they shake hands, and then she's like,
Let's not play lovers games,
"Hey, Chuck, you're holding my hand."
That's right. So now Charlie Brown, in addition to pissing off his friends, is late for Thanksgiving dinner. Once again, where the hell are the parents? But whatever. We'll just suspend belief that, all they do is drive. So he calls his grandmother and explains why he's going to be late. And his grandmother says, well, just bring him along. And she's going to feed them Thanksgiving dinner.
Well, like every good Thanksgiving dinner, you've got 3 times the amount of food that you actually need.
Right. So they all get in the back of a station wagon, and it's one of those old school station wagons from when we were little kids, where they're all kind of sitting facing each other in the back. The seats are facing each other, and they end up singing "Over the River and Through
This
the
was
Woods."
pre-seatbelt days.
Oh yeah, no seatbelts. You know. So they sing "Over the River and Through the Woods," and then Charlie Brown at the end's like, "Yeah, but there's one problem. My grandmother lives in a condo," kind of like ruins that image of, going to grandmother's house in the sleigh. So that's how it ends for the kids. But then Snoopy and Woodstock go and create this huge dinner for themselves with this big, beautiful
Yeah,
turkey.
they weren't sharing it with those
whatever.
snot-nosed,
It's like,
ungrateful
hey, why
kids.
didn't Snoopy come up with this when the other ones were coming over? Would have saved the whole
Hey,
problem.
that would have ruined his Thanksgiving. Why didn't they take Snoopy and Woodstock with them?
I don't know. It's like, well, we're not taking the cats to Colorado.
Well, and this is like, it isn't like today where dog people have to take their damn dogs everywhere they
So
go.
here we go.
Snoopy could take care of himself.
So anyway, Snoopy and Woodstock, they have break the wishbone. By the way, I'm wearing a very nice wishbone necklace that my mother bought me to wear to Thanksgiving dinner. But they have the wishbone, and Woodstock gets the bigger half of the wishbone and kind of sails through the air. And then it ends with them having a slice of pumpkin pie, and they're playing the Thanksgiving theme that Fitzgeraldi wrote. So that's the three. If you need to get in the mood for the holidays, I would say if these don't get you in the holidays, if you're a Gen Xer, I don't know what will, because we all grew up on these and they're very, very nostalgic.
Yeah, get your 30-day free Apple Plus subscription
Yeah.
right now. If you haven't watched it already, after you're done watching the Charlie Brown specials, watch Ted Lasso and then watch Murderbot. And then you can cancel that subscription again.
Yeah, all of it. Well, Ted Lasso, there's another season coming out, so you might want to hold on to it.
The third season just sort of left me sort of meh. Oh well.
So anyway, that's our episode for today. I think we're going to postpone Stephen King for a bit, just because that's a big leap.
Big bite.
And we've got a lot of our holiday stuff that we're busy with. I was thinking, I'd mentioned this to you, but I was thinking of our next episode being recommended holiday viewing.
That's not a bad one, but we're going to have some big holiday viewing coming up at Thanksgiving.
Right. But this
It's
is
not holiday themed.
But this is like for next week.
Okay.
Which is
Are we going to do another episode before we go to Thanksgiving?
Maybe.
Okay.
It depends on how well we get our shit together.
Okay, and remember, guys, Stranger Things is coming out like next freaking week.
Is it? Yeah.
It comes out it comes out Thanksgiving week.
Yeah. So when
and
is
we're leaving a week from tomorrow, so
right. So,
I think it comes out on Wednesday,
a week
right?
from Thursday.
Is a week from Thursday or a week from Thursday is Thanksgiving.
Right, that's the day it comes out.
I thought it came out on Wednesday. I thought it came out the day before.
I think it comes out on Thursday,
well,
but check.
It's awesome, guys, so just be aware.
Yeah, so we will be doing a recap of each piece of Stranger Things.
And if you're a family member who happens to be watching this, guess what you're going to be watching next week?
Yeah. Just hopefully Uncle Jim has a TV downstairs in his basement where we're staying.
I think he's got several televisions.
So we could take over
if
one
not,
of them.
We'll go to one of my cousin's houses.
We'll find a place to watch it. But if we do an episode prior to leaving, I would suggest that we do one on just suggested holiday viewing. So TV, movies, just kind of a recommended list of things to get you in the mood. I've got a Thanksgiving one that I always watch. That's like the dysfunctional family Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That is, that I'm going to recommend and some other stuff. So
cool.
I would say the Christmas episode of Ted Lasso. There's some really good ones. So anyway, hopefully we'll be able to come up with something for you guys next week. Maybe it'll be a shorter one, just kind of a list of things, and we won't do as deep a dive in everything, but just some recommendations. But we hope that everybody's holidays are going well. You guys have some fun stuff coming up for your holidays. Please like and subscribe. I always wait till the bitter end to say that.
That's right.
But I would be interested in knowing which of these three peanut specials are your favorite. My vote is for Halloween. Your vote is?
I think maybe Christmas.
Christmas. So tell us which one of the three you like the best. And tell us which one of the Peanuts kids you are.
Yeah. I'm Linus, probably.
You're Linus? I don't know who I am.
You always Peppermint Patty.
I think Peppermint Patty. She's sportier than I am, but I like Peppermint Patty. She's very straightforward. So
bull in a china shop.
So she's not an A student. She falls asleep in class.
That's
she's,
true.
So I'm kind of a combo of several of them. But I got some Snoopy. I got some Lucy. Hey, why do you say it like that? Did you see that face? You're watching on YouTube?
We said it at the same moment.
Okay. But you said it in a different way than I said it. I was like, oh, Lucy. You're like, you got some Lucy. So, if you know me, decide for yourself.
We'll have to go back and watch this too. We'll debate about how I really said it, because I don't think I said it that badly.
I have it on video. I'll be able to prove.
What she hears is different from what I say.
Okay, whatever. So anyway, I hope everybody is having a happy holiday season. And if you haven't done a rewatch of these recently, go do it. Each one is half an hour long. You're not investing a ton of time, but I guarantee you'll be more in the holiday spirit once you watch them than you were before. And until next time, everybody.
Adios, nerdmigos.
And live long and prosper.